Heyo, at the dog park again. I don't know why I'm doing these intros at the dog park, but anyway. This time I'm going to take a look at Windows 11. I know. This is 24H2, which is the current version of Windows 11. 25H2 I think is coming out fairly soon. But I just want to go over some very basic settings that you can change or adjust to try and maximize the privacy and minimize the intrusion of Microsoft into you just using your operating system the way you want to, which is one of my main beefs with using Windows. It's not that I hate Windows itself, I just dislike the way Microsoft treats its customers and, you know, basically spies on you. The Windows software, the Windows operating system has basically become sanctioned spyware, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll take a look, see what settings we can change, and hopefully this is interesting to somebody. Cheers. Okay, so this is freshly loaded Windows 11 Pro running in a VM, and we're going to go through some things to try and enhance your privacy. First of all, I don't think I've ever installed Windows and used a Microsoft account to log in. You absolutely can do that, of course, if you want to. It ties you into a lot of Microsoft services, gives you easier access to them. I prefer to log in with a local account, and Microsoft has made it very difficult to do that now, but you can do it, and I'll leave some links down in the video description below. If you already have Windows 11 installed, you can revert it back to a local user account, but then you would have to transfer your data back to the local user as well, which is a bit of a pain. But I'll leave links to how to do that as well in the video description. When you do initially start up, there are some settings you can go into to make changes here. If you're already in Windows 11, you can go to Settings and then Privacy and Security. There's a bunch of stuff in here you can turn on and off. I have turned most of these off at startup, and you can see it turned itself back on again. How nice. So you can get and turn all these off, and I'll show you a quicker way to do that later. But one of the main methods that you can be tracked and, you know, have information spread around is, apart from using OneDrive, which I turn off. You can turn off OneDrive by going into Task Manager, going to the Startup Apps, and just disable it here. You can see, you can click on it, right click and disable. Already did that. So if you go into the browser, this is the main avenue by which most people do work in Windows, I would say. You're on the internet and you're doing things. So let's go through some of the settings here. So if we go right click on the three dots over here, go to Settings, and this will give you a bunch of stuff on the left here, and then you can make the changes over here. Profile, I don't use profiles. You can if you want. Again, you'd have to sign in with your Microsoft account to sync data across devices. You're perfectly welcome to do that. I don't do it. Privacy, search and service devices, the basic, you have three tracking prevention settings: basic, balanced, and strict. Strict tends to break some sites. Balanced is generally fine. You can always select always use strict tracking prevention when browsing in private mode. That might be something you want to do. You can enable that there. There is some settings for clearing browser data. What I usually do is go to choose what to clear every time you close the browser, and I usually check browsing history, download history. You can check cookies as well to have them deleted, or you can leave them intact, whichever you want to do. I usually check them to have it clear out. If you want to add a site that you don't want to have the cookies cleared for, like a bank or something, you can add it here and just type a site in. There's other stuff here like passwords, cache files, auto-form data, site permissions. I usually leave those alone. So then you can go back. Some diagnostic data. It doesn't really allow you to change it. Again, this is something I'd turned off, but I'll show you how to turn off a lot of these things later. There's some other stuff here you can help improve. We don't want that necessarily. Personalization, not really. Appearance is just basically whether you have the color scheme, which I chose this particular one here. You could do page zoom, customize the toolbar. I usually like to have the home button shown. This is off by default. This is the home button here. I set it to something I like startpage.com, which is what I've got it set to. You can choose what the new tab does, what the startup page is. I just leave it to the default, or you could set that to start page or whatever you want, Google, whatever you want to do yourself. Share, copy, and paste. I don't really make any changes to those, although you can. Cookies and site permissions, that's kind of handled by the deletion stuff. There are permission stuff here, like for camera. The default is ask first, so if you go to a site that uses your camera, you can have it make it ask you first. Same with the microphone. These are all the default settings here. Default browser, of course, is Internet Explorer, or Edge. Internet Explorer compatibility is probably not something you need nowadays. Most sites don't need that anymore. That was a bit of a workaround when Edge first came out, because Edge was a little bit different from the old Internet Explorer, so you could have a compatibility mode. You don't really need that now. There may be a couple of sites here and there where you need them. If so, the site will probably tell you. Downloads is just directing where your downloads go to. Family safety, you can look at that. Again, I think most of this needs you to be signed in, I believe, with a Microsoft account. Printers, language, system and performance, accessibility, all these kind of things are just normal stuff that you can alter depending on your preferences. The settings would just change with the most ones that would normally affect how you use Internet Explorer. I tend not to have it remember passwords. You can turn that off as well. One thing I do use is Shut Up 10, which works for Windows 11 as well, which is a piece of software that allows you to download it here real quick. There are several of these types of programs. I use this because it's fairly straightforward to use. So it has current user and local machine, and there are some predetermined settings you can use, or you can go down individually and select these. What I normally do is go to Actions and apply only recommended settings. Okay. So we'll do Continue. Okay, you'll notice some of these have changed. Again here, some of these have changed. So what this does is it disables a lot of stuff to do with tracking and that sort of thing. Disable app access to user account information, disable Windows tracking of app starts, all that sort of thing. It automatically does it for you. Now, you may need to come back and redo this, reapply these after major updates, because Microsoft tends to be a little sneaky about stuff like that. It'll revert some of these things. But generally speaking, once you've set these, they should remain intact until the next update. So what I normally do is I'll close it, it'll prompt you, and normally you would go ahead and restart to make sure all the changes are in place. So we can certainly do that, and it prompts you here. And of course with Windows, it's important to keep your system up to date, and Windows does it pretty much automatically now. It'll update in the background and then prompt you to restart at some point. They've gotten better with that. It used to be restarts would happen, right in the middle of you doing stuff. It tends not to do that now. This version here is 24H2. There is a 25H2 forthcoming towards the end of this year, and it'll be slowly rolled out. As far as I know, there aren't any big changes in it as far as features. I think it's just cleanup and bug fixes and so on, so hopefully it won't be too onerous. But that's basically what I do in any Windows settings I have, Windows computers I have. Hopefully that's somewhat interesting to somebody. I do have links down below, like I said, for the if you're initially setting up Windows, how to do it with a local user account. And that changes from time to time. Microsoft sort of closes loopholes and so on. It makes it a little more hard and a little more difficult for you to do it. But and also there is a link down below on how to revert to a local account if you want to, if you're currently using a Microsoft account. But that's entirely up to you. So hope that was helpful. Take care.
So that's another video in the can. If you found this informative or interesting, please consider liking and subscribing down below. And remember, be excellent to each other.